Juventus really looked like a team organised. They looked like they knew what they were doing. They looked like they had actually a relationship and understanding together as a team. And I see progression. It's taken a little while, but I actually see a bit of progression when I look at this Juventus side. And it was a great performance. 15, 20 minutes, maybe Roma came into it. But again, that's the impact of the subs that they had to make. But Juventus deserved the win today.
It's kind of weird that, and I know Juventus is the big story, but just going back to it, the fact that I remember the game against Inter, Roma against Inter, and Roma has lost a lot of the big games. They beat Lazio, they beat Bologna, but besides that, when they played Juve, Inter, Napoli, they're not able to get over the line. He put Dybala as a false nine, and didn't work. Same exact front three, who, by the way, he subs all of them out by the 53rd minute, 54th minute. And then you do it again, maybe to not create a reference point with the back three of Juventus. To me, it didn't make sense. How can you keep doing that?
The frustrating thing with watching Roma as well is playing centre midfield. If I'm Kone and I'm making those passes in, we talk about Dybala, those threaded balls he's making into Dybala shouldn't be going into Dybala. They should be going into a Ferguson who sets a Dybala, and then the Ferguson spins or other runners that run past him, because that's when Dybala's at his best, where he breaks down those low blocks, those defence with those fantastic world-class passes that he's capable of. So as a midfield, if you're Kone, you're frustrated because you're getting the ball. You're capable to get it off the back four and make that vital pass, make it. But it needs to be going to a target man that's just setting a Dybala that's facing the play.
Which is interesting, isn't it? Because we always say Gasperini is the best. He plays the best attacking football. He, you know, if you want to be a striker, well, you boys all said.
Matteo said it's the Ivy League for attacking players.
For attacking players.
We always say it.
There's a stubbornness and an arrogance to Gasperini. This is a known fact, right? And so we still have to see him take control of the team. We still have to see him bring in his own players. I think personally he doesn't like Ferguson. But he's also a striker that's shown some flashes and a striker that's new to the country. You have to give him 10 games. You keep putting 2 games back out, 2 games in a straight run of 10 games, and you have to trust him. And obviously Ferguson as a player, he knows that he doesn't have the trust from the manager, and strikers need confidence. So that's going to hurt them. To flip just quickly back to Juventus, I think we talk about the idea, we talk about Spalletti. I think if you asked every single player today, if you went through the lineup, if I just looked through the lineup right now, Cambiaso, what's your role today? It was clear. He had 2 things he needed to do. Okay, when I don't have the ball, this is where I'm going to be. When I have the ball, when we have the ball, I'm going to come inside and make an extra number in the midfield. He's the assist for the first goal. Every single player was put in a situation to succeed today. Every single one. McKennie was put in a situation where he can affect the team the best. Thuram, the same. Openda, the same. Yildiz, allowed to play on the counter, allowed to cheat a little bit offensively and sort of create things. Every single player was put in a situation to be very successful today, and the one worry was Bremer. We don't know yet if he come off hurt or not, but he also gives them an element because he's able to be so physical on the other side, on the defensive side of the ball, that Juventus can squeeze teams in their own end. And when he comes out, I think you see the gap. I think you do see that Juventus had to sit deeper, had to be more pragmatic, and almost let Roma, by the way, back into this game.
We didn't speak about Openda yet, but his impact, I know Conceição wins MVP. For me, it's Openda. It's the movement. Juventus, just like Roma, had a striker problem. Vlahovic goes out injured. Openda, it's small sample size, but he's looked very good with the movements that he had, and he rightfully gets his goal.
And it's crazy, isn't it, to think that now only 4 points separate first through 5th place in the table. Of course, Inter, Milan and Napoli, they're all still to play in this match day because they've been in Saudi Arabia for the Supercoppa. Roma stay in 4th place. So how did this measuring stick work today, Matteo, in terms of telling you more about one or the other team? Can you read too much into Roma losing today at the Allianz?
I think Roma needs some reinforcements in January. The reality is Gasperini is doing this. I think he's punching above their weight, right, with a team that's not complete. He's doing this without a center forward that's scoring goals. Dovbyk and Ferguson have like 2 or 3 goals in Serie A between them. That's simply not good enough. He's doing it with the defenders that they bought in the summer that aren't ready. Jolkowski today played, and I thought he did well, but Gilardi, we haven't seen him because clearly Gasperini doesn't quite trust him yet. So El Ainaoui, again, he's out for the AFCON, and he hasn't really played consistently either. So I feel like they need to get a few players for Gasperini that he really wants, and he's had time now to assess this team and say, right, this guy I trust, this guy I believe in, this guy no good. He's not good for my system.
Do you still think they'll fight for the Scudetto come the end of the season?
Yeah.
Even though they don't beat the big teams?
I don't think they'll win the Scudetto. I still think that Inter, Napoli probably have the best chance. Maybe Milan outside. Milan has been playing really poor, by the way. But Roma, they'll be there. They'll be in the mix. They're in the mix now, and I think things are only going to get better for them after January. I expect them to have a pretty strong January mercato now that the ownership knows, hey, we can make top 4, right? Champions League would be massive for Roma.
That is the goal. Champions League is the goal. If we frame things the right way. Come in, they've done everything to try to get back into Champions League football. Hasn't worked out in recent years because of their amazing defensive record. They haven't conceded many goals where they were in the table. I agree, Gasperini was punching above their weight. So you said even that they could fight for the Scudetto. I still think that they are incomplete. And there's this attitude problem when they go down in matches. I mentioned it before, but 9 times they go down, they only have 1 win. The rest are losses. That's a big concern, the fact that they're missing key players. But then it's also the approach in those bigger matches that I think if you want to win the Scudetto, we saw last year, Inter. How many times did we say they can't win the head-to-heads? You don't go on and win a Scudetto. You don't go on and compete for titles when you can't beat those bigger teams.
Has anybody got Juventus in the Scudetto race, though?
I think we'd be foolish not to put them there. I don't think they're going to win it, and I don't think anyone here thinks they're going to win it. But
so
with
what you just say?
But with
What does the Scudetto race mean then? I'm confused.
Scudetto favorite, Scudetto race. Are we talking about the same thing? Are they in the Scudetto race? Could they be there floating around the top teams? I think so.
I think there's a level below
You're
them.
in the race. That means you're in the race to win the Scudetto.
Spalletti had no preseason. He just took over. Spalletti, you got to give him time. We know how good this guy can be. Give him January now. Let's see what they do in January.
So they're not in the Scudetto race?
No, they're not Scudetto favorites, but of course they're in the race. We'd be silly to say that Juventus have no chance to win the Scudetto.
I don't think they're in the race. I don't think Roma in the race. I don't think Juventus in the race for the reasons that we just said. They're incomplete squads. Like, this is the first time we've seen Juventus play well in 5 years, maybe. Okay, some flashes in the Champions League, right, when they came from behind or they scored.
A little exaggerated.
Hold on a second. So that means they're not going to finish top 4 because it's so tight at the top that if you're in the race, you're probably in the top 4.
Yeah, but the season doesn't end now. The season ends at the end in May.
I didn't know.
Yeah, May 31st. Yeah, but they're not going to be in the Scudetto race. Juventus is not going to be in the Scudetto race. Roma's not going to be in the Scudetto race.
Do you think that Juventus is comfortably going to be in the Champions League?
Nobody's comfortable.
Nobody's comfortable anywhere, but okay, fine, whatever. The Scudetto race, we don't know. I think Inter and Napoli are levels above these teams, right? They're more complete than these teams. They have more depth than these teams. Come the course of the season, yeah, okay. Now it's still January. It's still a tight table, but at the end, I think you'll see a couple teams break away. And it won't. I don't think it'll be Juventus. This is the first time we've seen Juventus do a complete performance, and it was really not complete because the last 20 minutes they lost control of it, where Roma could have come back into the game. So to say that they're going to be Scudetto favorites now, that's recency bias.
I'll be honest, man. I don't think there's anyone levels above anyone else in Serie A. I think every top team is flawed. I think we can all agree there's no perfect Serie A team. There's no Juventus of the 2010s that's going to take off with 20-point gap in February or March. And I think that the gap between the bottom teams and the top teams, which is the reason we've seen so many upsets, really isn't all that great because all the top teams have their own issues. We can pick and say, right, the Santa thing we did, what do they need from Santa, all the top teams? We could all pick 3 things that the top teams needed this January to help them in their quest because there's no top team. So I can't sit here and say, it's going to be Inter, it's going to be Napoli. I think there's genuinely 4 or 5 teams that could realistically win the Scudetto, and I wouldn't be shocked where I'm jaw-dropped at the end of the season.
I think there's a lot of valid points to that. I agree there's no like Bayern Munich in terms of the league where they're going to run away with it, but I think there's a gap between 3 teams, the Inter, the Milan, and the Napoli. I think they're ready to win, and then I think there's the others who are going to, maybe they can sneak in. Would you be surprised? No,
but
I don't think
Champions League more so than
I don't think that they will compete for the league title.
It's Inter and Napoli. For me,
Milan,
that's clear.
You could put
the
Milan.
only reason why Milan,
you wouldn't put Milan in there?
the only reason why you put Milan there is because they don't play European football, and we saw how effective that was for Napoli.
They beat all the big teams.
In terms of the level of football, Inter and Napoli are above the other teams.
Napoli have better level. You're saying Napoli play good football now?
No, but Napoli are Napoli are defensively organized, one of the hardest teams to play against. Obviously, they won the league just last season, so we have the sample size under Antonio Conte. If they get knocked out, they sit 23rd in Champions League. If they get knocked out of Champions League, Napoli will be there at the end of the season. They're going to get Lukaku back. They're going to be stronger than the other sides. Inter as well. They have depth. Inter can field 2 teams as strong as Roma's first team, right? No other team can do that. And they have their weaknesses, but not as weak as Juventus. We've seen one full performance here. And we can't put Juventus and Roma in the conversation in Scudetto. It's Inter and Napoli, and then there's Milan that doesn't play European football. That's still new under Allegri as well. Milan and Allegri would be at the same conversation as Juventus and Roma. New coach, new project, still learning, still figuring things out. But the fact that they don't play European football puts them a little bit higher.
Well,
but
that was Napoli last year.
This group of 3 of Juventus, Roma, and Milan are for me in the same boat.
The best
and
thing
Inter and Napoli are ahead of them.
The best thing that Inter have going for them is that because they've been in the Champions League so many consecutive seasons and they've had deep runs, they've been able to make a lot of money. from Champions League. They've been able to assemble a long time ago a team for Champions League, so the depth just keeps adding. And Mike's actually spot on. They can field two very competitive teams in Serie A. Genuinely. The B team of Inter would be a top 4 team in Serie A.
Well, this is a beautiful.
Like Marco said, they're the only team in 2025 not to have won a trophy, which is crazy.
Roma don't have one striker.
To say.
Inter have 4. Inter have 4 strikers better than Roma strikers.
And guess what? They got the same amount of trophies in the calendar year. This is the beautiful thing about this argument is that nobody's right or wrong. It's because the league is so competitive.
Oh, no, Grella thinks he's right.
It's fine. Everyone could think that they're
100% right.
I think he's wrong, by the way.
Listen, it's a beautiful.
Are you trying to say Roma and Inter are the same strength?
Okay, can't listen. Okay, go.
No trophy in the calendar year. What is that? We're talking about the strength of the team.
No, go finish your point.
It's fine. Sorry, go.
All right, let's have a look at Openda. Let's change subjects completely and have a look at Openda's day, because one thing you can all agree on is that he was outstanding today, right?
Finally, Juventus have a striker problem as well. They had Dusan Vlahovic, they have Jonathan David, who they brought in, who they thought were going to replace him. Openda, we have not seen him put in this sort of performance. And I will be honest, I questioned Spalletti when I saw the starting 11 and I saw Openda. And for me, it's the movement. It's the movement that he made. It's the link-up play. You see that one right there. It doesn't go in. But that's what Juventus has been missing. It's the football. It's the play. It's the style. And Openda did all of that today. And I'm so happy he got his goal. It looks like it is the easiest of all the chances that he had. He deserved this goal because, for me, he was the best player for Juventus.
I love how, by the way, he didn't celebrate with McKennie. He went off in his direction. McKennie went off in his direction. The difference maker, though.
And, Poppy, this comes at a great time because Vlahovic is now out with an injury. Jonathan David, I think, has been one of the most disappointing signings in Serie A. Openda has a pretty good record. He scored a lot of goals at Lens in Liga, then he went to Leipzig, and he scored over 25 goals a season, just like Jonathan David. The difference is this guy today showed up. We're still waiting for Jonathan David. Claudio Marchisio, ex-Juventus legend, said, David, it feels like he doesn't know that he's playing with the Juventus crest. He sees it, but he doesn't know what it means. And I think this is the issue for some of these guys. The work rate off the ball, the dedication, the hunger. I think for Jonathan David, it's not there. For Loïs Openda, today we're seeing flashes. Great news.
Really good news, and great news as well to see Bremer back and playing for Juventus. A little bit worrying the way that he came off in the 60th minute. We're not sure exactly how he came off, if he was just resting or if he's got a bit of a knock to his knee. But here's a pack on his day, because Grella, you were really impressed, weren't you, with Bremer?
Yeah, on the defensive side of the ball, he's one of the best in the league for sure. With Torino, he played with a 3 center-back system, and Juventus obviously the same, which means you can seek and destroy everything, and he's one of the best at it because of his ability to, unbelievable acceleration, anticipation, reading of the game, power. So you see what I mean when I say, like, he suffocates guys. Like, he doesn't let guys turn, he doesn't let guys have a touch. And that allows Juventus to be in possession more often. So this is his day here.
We saw Juventus take a turn for the worse last year when he got injured. Remember, things were looking pretty good with Thiago Motta. They weren't conceding many goals. Bremer went down injured against RB Leipzig in the Champions League and fell off a cliff. He got injured 3 months ago, and we saw a huge dip. Juventus went, 7 games without putting up a win, conceding so many goals. For me, he's the best. I mean, it's easy to say he's the best defender for Juventus. I think he's the best defender in Serie A. So having him back is crucial for Juventus this season.